What is going on, you guys? Admiral Tori here, and welcome back for another World of Warship video on my channel. Today we're gonna be setting sail with a Tier 5 light cruiser, the Omaha class from the American line. So the Omaha class, I actually looked up some information about the Omaha. The description is pretty short. It is a Atlantic ship and not a Pacific, so that one caught me by surprise, because the majority of the ships on the American line are Pacific, and obviously the Pacific warfare, when it comes to naval and island hopping, the Americans learned their ways around to get to Japan compared to the Atlantic warfare, which I didn't hear much of. And carriers in terms of Atlantic warfare was much smaller than Pacific, and that is very big because carriers requires a lot of cruisers, and cruiser technology was a big advancement during the Pacific front or the Pacific theater of the warfare. And as usual, battleships slowly lose their place since carriers and naval technology shifted to aviation. So the Omaha class, it is a scout cruiser like the Furutaka, and it didn't get much of a service. The original Omaha class, I read about it, and it only sunk, or not actually didn't sink, it actually captured a German cruiser. I don't know what time of the day it was or what period it was. I think it was late into the war when the war was about to be over, and the German crew just surrendered to the Omaha class. So the Omaha class, it is a powerful communication cruiser. Apparently, it's, like I said, it's a scout cruiser, so when it spots something or it's out in operation, it's more of a communicative cruiser than a offensive cruiser. But for some sort of reason, on World of Warship, it is a complete opposite in operation, because this thing pumps out a lot of shells at the enemy ships and definitely devastate a lot of battleships with its shells. So, interesting enough, the Omaha class is probably one of the best cruisers to get and easy cruiser to get in this game. I would recommend anyone to grab the Omaha class, and it's really simple to get it or grind it for a Tier 5 ship. Now Tier 7, Tier 6 is where the real deal starts to hit and get those really nice ships. But the Omaha class sits right in the middle tier, so you get all the fun you need in terms of matchmaking, and it is a powerful AA support ship. So all around, the Omaha class is probably the ideal cruiser. This is where the groundwork really lays down, you know? You gotta get some really good AA, solid shelling and solid armor, solid speed. Everything about the Omaha really stretches its strength. And what's related to the Omaha is the Murmansk. Now the Murmansk is actually the Omaha class being sold to the Soviet Union, and I'm guessing by then, which actually shows the date when it was sold. It was sold in 1944. At that point, the Omaha class is completely outclassed and outdated. So I'm assuming that the United States sold the Omaha simply because it was a ship that they didn't need in the Navy anymore and make a couple extra bucks. At that point, they had the Clevelands, a lot of Clevelands, Baltimore, Pensacola, all those really nice cruisers just happened to be better than the Omaha. And you'll notice that the transformation from the Omaha to the Cleveland is a big difference in terms of design. So, historically, apparently, the design was impractical. Like it says in the description of the Murmansk, this impractical and obsolete firepower arrangement resulted in decreased artillery performance. And one of the reasons why is that we tend to build ships with turrets that are rotational at most 360 degrees. If you haven't noticed, the Omaha class doesn't have that. It has turrets right here, turrets right over here on the right side that can rotate limitedly, same as this. And the problem with that is that if you add turrets like this configuration, it's really not practical, like I said. And if you add more turrets, say for instance, if you rotate a turret 360 degrees, it can work both sides. But if you have it like this layout, you're gonna have one turret on one cannon on one side and another cannon on the other side, and that adds weight. And when you add weight to a ship, it slows down the cruiser, and ideally a cruiser wants to be fast, you know, wants to get in that position right away. The strengths of the ship, big time on World of Warship, is the AA department. The Furutaka and the Königsbuck has no comparison against the Omaha class in terms of AA, and it's understandably one of the best AA in the game. The American line tends to have the better AA, but the credit usually goes to the Swedish people, I believe, because they're the one who actually sold the AA, the Bofors, let's check out the Bullfors. I was talking about the Bullfors in my New Mexico video. The Bullfors, these are the nice AA. If they sold these to the Japanese would have a better chance in terms of shooting down planes, but they were completely outscaled in economics, so it wouldn't matter. But this is definitely an effective AA, and thank you, Sweden. Gotta thank the Swedish, man, because the Swedish know how to make their good AAs. And I think the Bullfors actually make cannons also, field artillery. Let's see, I think this is also Swedish. Another type of AA used on an American ship. And I actually remember back in the day when I was playing on the PS2, I was playing a game called Medal of Honor: The Rising Sun, and the first mission was Pearl Harbor, and I got on one of these little AAs, and it was pretty awesome. Those were very old days for me. But overall, Omaha class can do a lot of stuff compared to what historically been talked about. The short description being a scout cruiser, sending information intel to the big fleet. In the game, the Omaha class completely destroyed destroyers big time, and they can do a lot of stuff. Aside from that, the difference between the Omaha and Murmansk, the Murmansk is actually better. It has slightly better stats for some sort of reason. I'm guessing different shells, different torpedoes. But then again, the maxed out ship on the Omaha is probably 1930s, and this is 1944 when they added extra modules to the Omaha class and renamed it the Murmansk. But the Murmansk, in terms of game, the Murmansk is way better because you actually get extra coins for being a premium ship, extra XP that you wish to convert, which I'm probably not since it costs money, and is much more effective than the Omaha. And personally, I think the Murmansk sounds better than the Omaha. So I'm actually going to jump between the Omaha for the first game, and when I find that perfect first game to showcase the Omaha class, the second game is going to be with the Murmansk because I want to showcase the Murmansk, and I think the Murmansk is one of the best premium ships to buy. I would totally recommend the Murmansk to anyone who's willing to buy a premium ship. I think honestly it's the best premium ship. It's the ideal ship. It's fun, effective, tier 5 for fighting easy matches. Matchmaking the higher tiers take a long time, or you get in a long game where it's a stalemate. While tier 5, you get in the middle and you can join any type of tier game that are low or high or medium, and you pretty much bank a lot of coins off of the ship. This is my economic ship. This is what gives me coins, and I think it's worth. Actually, gotta do a video about premium stuff because there's our players out there who don't know much about premium, and some premium stuff are worth, and some premium are just absolutely trash. Aside from that, let's try to get in the game and see what the Omaha class can do on the American side, and then showcase the Soviet Murmansk. Alrighty, you guys. We're in our first match on Big Race. It's probably one of my favorite maps. Really easy to get in. So there are some things that I also want to point out about the artillery power on the Murmansk compared to the Furutaka and the Königsberg. So the Königsberg clearly has the powerful AP, but weak HE, and the Furutaka overall has solid AP and the most powerful HE. Where does the Omaha sit? Well, the Omaha, in terms of shelling power, are very weak compared to those two ships. It sits right dead center. But the fact that it has a lot of cannons, and the fact that it shoots a lot, shoots very fast, high fire rate. It actually has the highest fire rate cruiser in all of them, and large distance, far distance. It actually shoots pretty far. Look how far this thing goes. 14.6, and if you have the Murmansk with the scout plane, it can go up to 17 or 18, which is the hang time on the shells pretty much makes it obsolete if you unless the ship is just sitting there. What I find this ship to be most effective is with HE, because I just spam it and hope for the best that I will set the ship on fire, and we just got spotted. Only time I use AP is when I guarantee a cruiser's nearby, like this Königsberg, and pretty much guarantee the shot, because these shells do take a while to land or get there. So it looks like we just incapacitated the Königsberg, and my lord, we have just spotted the enemy fleet. Doing my job, right? Being a scout cruiser. Oh, nice, we got a Citadel. I also want to note that the Omaha is very notorious for being Citadel easily. It does have a huge Citadel compared to the Furutaka. I think the Furutaka has the best survivability in terms of cruiser performance, But then again, I was talking in my Furutaka video that firepower is not its department unless it's a high skill player who plays a Furutaka. On the Omaha, on the other hand, Omaha is much easier to play. Now, I'm not saying that good ships are pretty much easy to play. I'm just saying that ships that are easy to play tends to give you better, I guess, better results and better enjoyment. But there are ships that are difficult, and I really enjoy playing those ships. Higher tier matches are one of the explanation for being fun and difficult to play. If you guys understand what I mean, because you gotta make your shots worth, and you gotta watch out for those enemy torpedoes if you're a battleship player. Look at that. Let's try to find. So, switch to AP here. This Königsberg is actually showing broadside. I rarely use AP unless I'm guaranteed a broadside. It's not worth the time, the aim to go for AP shots when you see a cruiser. Sometimes you're better off with AHE, with the rapid fire set on fire. Ooh. Let's see if we can set this Wyoming on fire and annoy him. Oh, he's already on fire. Look at that fire rate on this thing. Can go days with the Omaha. Where I'm going. Oh, set him on fire. Be really bad for him. Life of battleships. But then again, that's early tier. Once you get in the higher tiers, it's pretty much life of cruisers, because cruisers have it tough in the higher tiers. Ooh. Are those Phoenix torpedo gonna hit that Wyoming? Yeah, I do have torpedo armament, so if you ever engage against another cruiser and he decides to charge you, you're gonna have the edge. But then again, a lot of cruisers at this tier do have torpedoes. But don't get me wrong, Omaha torpedoes are pretty powerful, pretty useful against battleships and other cruisers. Nice, look at the damage. I'm gonna head toward, where am I going? Gonna head southwest because all the action's actually at southwest. Königsberg is showing a broadside. Let's see if we can actually hit a citadel. Land a citadel. One thing about German AAs, they go off crazy, but they really don't do anything. They're just fireworks. Oh look, another citadel. Don't expect to do a lot of damage with the citadels. But if a cruiser is really close to you and you're using AP, you're guaranteed a citadel, I think you might do a lot of damage because the fire rate on this thing is like a tier 5 version of Atlanta. And everyone knows Atlanta. I really want the Atlanta, just that I can't. The range on the Atlanta is what kills me, and it's a tier 7 ship. It's one of those ships that is one trick pony and it's really fun to play, but the price of it is just not worth for me. Look at our Bogue. Bogue is actually like one of the slowest ships in the game. I think top speed is like 18, 16. Very disappointing. Same thing as the Langley. Oh, look at this planes. The fighters the dive bombers fly over my cruiser. Bogue wants to ram me, right? But this cruiser is probably my favorite cruiser to take out destroyers with, especially the Murmansk. I actually have a really old gameplay I hadn't got the chance to upload. I was thinking I should commentate over that, but it was a Murmansk gameplay, and I had a blast. It was one of the best games I ever played. Maybe in the future I will upload that. Königsberg is 9.3 kilometers. I would say use AP at 7 kilometers. That's when it's really guaranteed to shot. There's no point in kiting Omaha shots at that kilometer. 9 at most. Unless the ship is just keeps showing a broadside. Oh, Coburg. I don't know if it has what do you call torpedoes. slow down. Come on, Coburg. Look at those hits. 41. Oh, Phoenixes. This engine got knocked out. Easy target. Oh shoot, where am I going? Sometimes when I play cruiser, I don't even know where I'm heading. I'm really used to playing battleships because battleships are slow, so normally I don't ram anything. There we go, we got our first kill. It's a nice kill. See if we can finish up this Coburg. Oh, Coburg. Coburg made a big mistake. He got in a DUI accident here. Too much German beer, I see, huh? Coburg. I gotta admit, German cruisers do have a lot of armor at early tier. Nothing compared to the St. Louis. St. Louis is a different story. No, why did that kill? Where are the carriers? Wyoming. Is that the same Wyoming? Just set him on fire. Come on. I know there's a fire gonna come out. Come on! Oh, those torpedoes. He's not gonna see those coming. Yeah! That's what I'm talking about. Kurutaka. Whoa. He's so classic. Oh crap. Right. I mean left. What am I saying? You see the chat, guys? Super Flash. He's what you consider somebody you don't want to be. Honestly. If you're not a positive-minded person, you're not gonna have fun in a game. Because I played video games for a long time. I find that no matter whether you win or lose, if you have a positive mind, you always feel good about playing a game. But if you're in mind that's a winner, then you'll never feel good unless you win, right? And it's something I really want to talk in depth. Maybe in my Murmansk video, I will talk about that because that actually shows a perfect example. My Murmansk video is a perfect example that I pre-recorded, not this one I'm about to create in this video because that one's gonna be live. Kind of want to do some pre-recorded commentaries and talk about subjects that I like, share what I think about. That's one of my biggest motivations to YouTube. I just want to share my experience, and that's maybe a little bit too broad, but there'll be certain videos that I would just take the time to just talk about something that's not related to World of Warship, or maybe it is related but not always, talk about the ship, play the ship, and have fun. Hosho is not having a nice day. I think all his planes got shot down by the bogues. Look at those shells raining on his deck. There we go. Let's see how well we do this game. Not bad. Not bad. 26,000 with AP. HE is 22,000. 20,000 by setting a fire. That shows how powerful the ship is when it comes to setting a fire. It doesn't have a higher chance than the Furutaka. But when you keep dishing out a lot of shells downrange, you can definitely do a lot of damage with the Omaha. And I think it's probably the most consistent ship. I gotta give the Omaha the consistent ship medal because it can definitely do anything in any scenario. It can give AA support, like I said. It can do damage against other ships, battleships in terms of HE. AP, if the enemy is close enough, your AP will outscale the enemy's AP because it will just consistently or pretty much output more AP into their ship than your ship. Like I said, the drawback is that it does have weak armor and a big citadel. Aside from that, let's try and get in a game with the Murmansk. Flip back to the docks and find a game with the Murmansk because Murmansk sounds different than the Omaha and is better than Omaha, and I actually have the camo for it. Look at that camo, it's pretty nice. I already have 81,000 XP on the ship. That gives you a good idea how much I was playing it. It was a ship I really enjoyed playing. Let's get in the game and see what we're going to do with the Murmansk. Alrighty, you guys. This is our next game. This time with a Tier 5 Soviet Murmansk, which is still a Omaha class sold to the Soviet Union. And earlier in the video, I was talking about that I wasn't going to use this Murmansk footage, which is a pre-recorded footage. But I changed my mind. I decided to use it because this is a really old gameplay, and it's one of the best games I've played. And there's something about this gameplay that speaks for itself about the World of Warship community as a, I wouldn't say as a whole, but a majority of players out there who actually play this game, and the mindset that goes through them, because there are a lot of flaws in this game. There's actually two particular players that stand out that points out what I'm trying to say. So I'm not going to be talking much about the gameplay. I'm going to let the gameplay speaks for itself. But what I want to talk about is a very deep subject, and it's a subject that I cannot control over. And the subject is that what do you really expect when you play World of Warship? And that might not make sense to you right away, but when I get on World of Warship, what I really expect is that I get in a match, I play the ship that I really like to play or enjoy playing, and find a match where it's really intensive or fun to play. But in most case scenario that I find, this is from my own experience, is that that's what mentality, the majority mentality is not really that way. It is actually the thinking of doing the best. And I can understand that everyone wants to do the best in all games. They want to be the top, the best of the best, MLG, whatever words you want to describe pro. And I used to think like that, guys. When I started playing video games, it brings me back all the way back to Call of Duty. And this was during Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, a time when commentary, video game commentary over gameplay like this, what I'm doing, was a big thing. And to be the best, to be the top of the line, as Charles Darwin said, the survival of the fittest, you're gonna have to come up with some solid gameplay. We're talking about going 23-5 in terms of kills to death ratio, always holding up the best score in every game, and that's what everyone wants to see. That's what you consider entertaining, and that's what everyone wants to strive for. They want to do all these crazy skillful stuff, show off their abilities in the game. And I realized later on that it's fairly difficult to be the best because not everyone can be number one. Somebody has to be on the bottom, somebody has to be in the middle, and somebody has to be on the top. And we're talking about a world. We're speaking in worldly perspective, that there's over 1 million people in this world, and you're expecting yourself to do the best of the best. What life is not really that fair. And the fact is that if you try to do the best of the best, it is admirable that you're trying, but you can never be the best of the best. There's a saying that Confucius said. He's a famous philosopher from the Chinese, and he said that the most smartest person will never change, and the most dumbest person will never change. If you take for a moment, think about what I just said. If you're the smartest and if you're the dumbest, nobody is smarter than you and nobody is dumber than you. So you can never change as a person. You can't go from being the stupidest to being the smartest. Because if you're the stupidest and you all of a sudden become the smartest, you weren't really the stupidest. I mean, just take a second to think about it. That means there's only one person in this world who is the smartest and one person in this world who's really the dumbest. Everyone else falls in between these two people because they can be dumber than another person and smarter than another person, but they can never be the smartest nor the dumbest unless they really crown themselves to be. And the possibilities of being the smartest and the dumbest is pretty much 0.000, or like as much as you can think of percent. It is so small, mathematically speaking. So when you try to get in the game, you expect yourself to do the best of the best. It's not gonna happen all the time. And when people really get addicted to, I always say addicted, but keep their mindset of doing the best and always winning, the chances of you actually winning a game is slim. And Not like you're gonna entirely win, I mean lose every time or win every time. We're talking about probabilities, and there is a lot of factors. And the factors can be listed on and on. Say for instance, someone like TK, somebody wants to team kill or mess around the game and ruin your day. And it happens. I've seen in the game, I've seen a pink player who is reported for many times for team killing just decided to ruin someone's day by torpedoing our aircraft carrier in the beginning of the match. Another factor that can go wrong, strategy. And that is one of the things I really love playing. When it comes to strategy, a lot of people overlook that. And in this case, this is what the gameplay perfectly shows. So, what am I really trying to get to? Well, I used to be a guy who thinks of the best, but I started to change, and the way I think now is that video games were engineered or built to be fun. And if winning is all about fun, what are the chances of winning? My win ratio, actually my win percentage on this game is probably about 50%, 52, 53, a little above the halfway point. Does that mean that half the time I'm not having fun and the other half the time I'm having fun? And I will answer that no. 80 to 90% of the time I'm having fun, and yet I'm only pulling at 52% of win. So the last game, the Omaha, you can clearly see that the guy is trash talking about his team, and I see it all too often. I mean, it's more popular. It's actually more popular in the higher tiers, and that's one of the biggest reasons I don't like playing higher tiers. Lately, I have not played the Yamato on my docks, and I kind of feel bad because I put some time and money into unlocking that ship, getting premium, XPing it through on some ships, mainly the Magi. I wish I didn't do that. I should have done it on the Izumo, but I had my times. I really did have my times, and I really enjoy making my way to the top and getting the Yamato. But the Yamato, although it's all mighty and fun, I just cannot have fun with it simply because the community is the community mindset that they have to do the best. And when you want to do the best, you would do anything. You would take any measures to doing the best. And what happens in higher tier games is that people tend to sit back because they don't want to be the first guy to die. And that can be many reasons why people don't want to be the first man to die. If you even try to put effort into making a difference in a higher tier match, especially when everyone's mindset is to doing the best, it won't work. You're going against an entire team unless your entire team goes with you. And World of Warship was built to be a composition game. So in this match, I don't play cruisers. Yeah, if you guys subscribe to my channel, you know that I don't play cruisers. But I had a duty. I know for a fact that cruisers are mobile. They have powerful artillery, powerful fire rate. They got a lot of things for them. When I play battleships, I have the biggest cannons, I have the most health, and I have a lot of potential to do damage. And yet, I'm obsolete against a destroyer. I can't really do much against destroyers. The only chance I can do against destroyers is if I'm lucky enough to actually shoot him or have my cannons pre-aimed at him, or my secondary somehow take him out. But in most case scenario, the world will never be perfect or on your side in that kind of case. And that's where cruisers come in. Cruisers do a very good job at taking out destroyers because they have better cannons than the destroyers. They can sometimes have torpedo armament, and they're much more maneuverable than battleships. The battleship has a hard time moving around and dodging torpedoes, while the cruisers can do it, and they can definitely scout for the battleships. But yet, the cruiser doesn't mean that just because the cruiser can do what the battleship can't do doesn't mean that the cruiser is the ideal ship. Can a cruiser deal with another battleship? And the battleship has bigger guns than the cruiser, and the battleship has more health than the cruiser. So one-on-one, cruisers will lose unless you have some kind of torpedo chance against a battleship. But in most case scenario, cruisers can't do much without their battleships. And battleships are the one that will take out the big and heavy duty ships. So cruisers really need to depend on battleships. And battleships gotta depend on the cruisers to protect them from torpedo runs by the carriers with their AA, or against destroyers. And in this game, I was just doing that. I was putting myself in a position where that normally people who wants to do the best, if you want to do the best, you don't put yourself in dangers, in harm's way. You just don't do that, because if you put your harm's way, you're increasing the risk of dying early in the game. And if you die early in the game, how are you supposed to do the best? And if you don't do the best, you're not gonna win. And if you don't win, how are you supposed to have fun? And the last resort you ever do is blame your team. So in this game, my mindset was not to do the best. My mindset was to do what I was built to do as a cruiser, and that was to take out destroyers and pretty much pave a path for my team. So if you've been watching the game, like I said, the gameplay speaks for itself. You guys notice that in the beginning part of the match, nobody went to one side of the map, and it was just me alone against this Cleveland right here. This Cleveland I've been dealing with the entire time. I'm completely outclassed by Cleveland, but simply because I was more experienced than Cleveland, I'm guessing, I was able to outdo him. But in most case scenario, I shouldn't be the only person on the side of the map. And you guys notice on the map, there are two particular players that, like I said, that I want to point out. And you will notice at the end of the match, and what they were trying to do is trying to survive the longest and trying to get some kills and damage without committing. The resolve, the ability to die with your team is powerful. It's a very powerful, I can't describe how powerful it is, but it is a powerful feeling as a human being, because commitment, there is no middle answer. It's either yes or no. And in this match, I felt that commitment really strong. I was committed to put myself in harm's way to face that Cleveland, and later on you'll see how the cruisers as a Murmansk pretty much perform its main duty, and that was to take out destroyers, and I did that job perfectly well in this game. And that is why I thought this game was one of the best games I played in my life in terms of World of Warship career. The games I played in World of Warship, not like my entire life, you know, but it has this I can't describe this feeling. And now, since I played Modern Warfare 2, Battlefield, all my games I played, I have learned that the internet world, in terms of multiplayer games, is not what you really expect, and your expectations will never be reached. But if you actually find something that works all the way around, you're way better off. If you can go 2 games having fun, whether you lose or win, you have a better enjoyment than having one game where you do really good. I mean, yeah, we have those games where you do really good and you cannot believe that you did it, but like I said, the chances of being the best and the worst, the best or the worst, most case scenario, you're sitting right between them. Sometimes you do the best, sometimes you do the worst, but you can never hit the best nor the worst. You can only get near it, and that is a very deep philosophy, because believe it or not, in mathematics, I don't know about you guys, but I really enjoy doing math. I love the concept behind math. A lot of people call me a nerd for it, but mathematics is really interesting, because in reality, there's no such thing as 1, 2, or 3. Those are just ideals. You can never. If you go grab a glass of water, and this is one of these mathematical theorems, or a mathematical theory and hypothesis and all that stuff. But the thing is that, when can you ever hit 0 water in that cup of water? I mean, you can dump the entire water and wait for a dry and you think you hit 0, but in reality you can't. And to put it in a better perspective, you go grab a cup of water, and you cut it in half in terms of dumping half the water out, and you can clearly see you're dumping half out, and you dump another half, and then you get a quarter cup left, and you keep dumping it again, then you get like a I don't know, 15 out of 100% of water. If you keep cutting that in half, all you're doing is making the number smaller and smaller, and yet it will always exist. It will always exist. You can never, ever hit 0 water in that cup. And that's the reality. In this game, the reality is that I enjoyed it. In the match, I'm just really no spoiler, but we actually lose this game. And yet, I said this is one of the best games I played. One of the best. Because I thoroughly enjoy enjoy doing what I do best, defending my team, helping my team out. I'm a supportive player. I'm not a marksman, you know. Sometimes I play like a marksman, but I feel that playing supportive is my most favorite thing to do in video games. I play League of Legends. If you guys ever played League of Legends, you guys would know what I'm talking about. In League of Legends, nobody likes to play the support role, and at first I was a attack damage carry, main marksman, and they do the most damage in the game, one of the most in terms of what they can do. But yet, in rank system, most people don't want to play support, so I was pitted in the corner to play support. And soon when I play League of Legends, the more I play support, I start to realize how much impact I can do in game, and how much I really enjoy helping people out, because people really thank me for doing it. And on World of Warship, what I'm trying to get out here is that in World of Warship, I feel like majority of players don't really think about their team or strategy or what they should be doing. Taking objectives, defending your battleship against destroyers, protecting your battleship against aircraft carriers, planes that are dropping torpedoes, and aircraft carrier players. I feel bad for them a lot because aircraft takes a lot of strategy and they really depend on their team to be effective. And I've seen games where people don't support the aircraft carriers, and when they don't support them, they complain about aircraft carriers being a garbage player. I mean, it's not their fault. Believe it or not, aircraft carriers require a team. As much as you see aircraft carriers can eliminate half the enemy team, those players out there who are really good with them, they can't do it without you. They can't do it without your team. They just can't. I mean, if the player skill cap was that low, then understandably they can do it without the team. But like I said, how often that can ever happen? You gotta get that ideal game, and in reality, the real world is never ideal. Like I said, in mathematics, 1 + 1 is 2. But if you get one object and another object, two objects in the real world, it might not be 2. It might be 1.999 or 2.1. And the lawyer is out there, complaining or arguing about, man, 2 is not an actual number. It's actually near 1.9 and it's still considered 2. It's really confusing stuff. The world is complicated. But if you choose to be a simple-minded person, not always like 100% simple, but not making it harder on yourself, is what I'm trying to say. If you pick something that's not making any harder, because like I said, if you want to do the best of the best and that what makes you feel good about, you're making it harder on yourself unless you're really the best. I mean, you gotta be the best. You're the only person in this world that nobody can contest your position. If someone can beat you in that position, that means you were never the best. You were never. Somebody else was. You're just sitting right, pretty much above the middle, near the top, but never were the top. Now, if you notice, like I said, there were 2 players that present a perfect example of what a non-supportive player, they were thinking about doing the best, and it was this Cleveland right here, and I don't know where's the Congo. The Congo also was there. I don't think the Congo is still alive. So these 2 particular players really sticked out to me, and most case scenario, a lot of people will be really mad at how they play. So the Congo, the issue with the Congo is that he's a battleship and he's one of the most important assets, but any ship can be important. And what he did was, in the early game, I was watching the minimap, I watched the gameplay before I even do the commentary, was that his team committed. And he committed halfway and then he went back and left his team to die. And that shouldn't have happened, because once your team commit, you should commit with them. If you let your team die and you somehow survive, you're gonna be dealing with the entire enemy fleet. And the Cleveland was, I'm not sure what the Cleveland was thinking, but what he did was that he was letting his team go first, and his team was getting destroyed. And once his team was getting focused, he decided to go in and get some pop shots and pretty much finish off the enemy ship. And in this game, your score is not based on finishing off ships. You can have the most kill, but it doesn't mean that you're gonna have the most score, because the most score is based on what ship you're playing and the amount of damage you can do with that ship. I've been in games where I'd get 0 kills and somehow I reach the top, simply because I got the most damage down on the enemy team. And in Cleveland, if you watch the minimap, if you've actually rewatched the gameplay in the Congo, you notice that these guys don't really commit. They don't have the will to commit. Their resolve, to me, is weak. It's very weak, and I'm disappointed. In the higher tier matches, this tends to be a more occurrence, but in the mid tiers, I'm fine with that. But at the end of the day, I really enjoyed this game. I enjoyed it, even though I lost. I enjoyed it because, like I said, I defended my battleships. I tried to do my best for my team. I went on the side of the map where nobody was protecting the aircraft carrier. I blocked the flanks. I did what I could do, and I'm proud of it. Other than that, I hope you guys understand what I'm trying to say out here, and I'll see you guys next time on World of Warships.